Welcome to another video of Lightest and Best, where we look at the lightest and best offerings from a variety of knife manufacturers. Today we're going to be looking at the Microtech UTX 70 knife. The UTX 70 gets its name because it's 70% of the size of an Ultratech out the front knife. I also have a UTX 85, so you can compare the size there. Well, anyway, the UTX 70 Microtech was started by Anthony Marfione, and he makes many different types of knives, but out the front knives are especially entering, especially here in Texas where we can have out the front knives. I know that in Canada and in other places you can't have out the front knives, but here in Texas we're able to have them. The blade length of the UTX 70 is 2.375 inches. The regular Ultratech's blade is 3.4 inches. The handle length is 3.22 inches, and the total knife length is only 5.75 inches. It's a very small, compact knife. The weight of the knife is only 1.23 ounces. It makes it one of the lightest and best knives, not only of Microtech, but of any knife in the industry. And I'm going to do size comparisons. You have the UTX 85 there before you. And here you have a Sharpie marker, and you can see it's about the size of a Sharpie marker. And here is a Spyderco Dragonfly. It's a little bit longer maybe than the Dragonfly. And the SOG Flash 1, which is a little larger, I believe, than the UTX 70. We have the Mini S1 from Michael Ziba, which is just a frog's hair larger, and the Ladybug, which is a smaller knife than the UTX 70. Next, I would like to show you the assortment of out-the-front knives that Microtech offers. We'll start at the smallest with the UTX 70. It has a blade length, as I've mentioned, of 2.375 inches and a total length of 5.75 inches. This is followed by the Troodon and UTX 85, followed by the Ultratech and Scarab. Next follows the Combat Troodon. Next, the Nemesis. And the penultimate one is the Macora 2. And the last and largest knife is the Halo, which has a blade length of 4.6 inches and a total knife length of 10.5 inches. The blade of the UTX 70 is made from Elmax steel on this version. There are also versions made in S30V steel and other steels. This is a plain drop point edge blade. There come in a variety of blades, including a spear point blade, Tonto blade, and with plain blade or with serrations, either half serrated or full serrated. The out the front knives is one of the places where you can really use a sharpened spear point blade because it's completely concealed within the handle. I chose the single edge blade because I consider it more useful, especially if you wanted to do some close work. You can get your index finger up there and dig a splinter out or whatever you need to do. The method of deployment of this knife is an out the front deployment, and this knife actually came to me a little stiff, and it's pretty hard. And actually I have to get up here with my first knuckle and retract it just because it's so stiff, and it's always been that way. Well, whenever I went to the Microtech table, I talked to one of the guys, and I saw this UTX 85 and asked him if I could buy it. And it was only the display model that they have because these are really pretty rare. You can get the Ultratechs, but the smaller versions, both the UTX 85 and 70, are pretty rare. They go in little runs and then they get gobbled up almost immediately. So I asked him if I could buy this, and he said, I don't know, this is our only model. So he went over and asked his boss, and his boss said I could sell it. So I really appreciated that. So I got me an 85 there at Blade Show 2017. Well, anyway, I told him my story about my UTX 70, how that it's always been stiff. Is there anything I could do about that? And he told me what they do at the Microtech repair shop. He said, just put a straw into the front end of it and fill it all the way to the top with Rem oil. and let it sit there for a little bit and then dump out all the rim oil and blow it out with some compressed air and it should be working fine. And I said, really, rim oil? That is so caveman. What about some of the higher expensive oils like the small particle oils? And he said, no, just rim oil and that'll do it. So we're going to go ahead during this knife video and see if I can fix the stiffness of this knife blade. I'll talk to you a little bit about the handle. The handle is made of anodized aluminum, and I've chosen the copper color. It comes in a variety of colors. You've already seen the black. The hardware has the tri-wing structure here on this knife, and you can see it on the screws that secure the pocket clip also. This is a 2016 version. This is a 2017 version of the UTX 85, and it has a different hardware. As you can tell, it's a triangular hardware rather than the 3 holes. And so I don't know if it's on all knives or it's just on this knife. Plus they have a little bit of traction here on the 85, whereas the 70 is pretty much a smooth handle, and you have to grip it like that. Also on the 85 they have a real functioning glass breaker, whereas they use the lanyard clip for a glass breaker on this one. There are a few differences. The pocket clip on this is a deep carry pocket clip, and it has the double dip pocket clip style. You see this on some of the Chris Reeves knives. I'm going to bring in a Sabenza here. So you have your first point of traction when the pant goes in, and then there's a second point of traction that you can get it up, so it gives you a little better, more secure carry. And it is attached on the end of the blade. I like that because you're able to get a really deep carry on that. And there's a small lanyard hole in the clip metal, and also it comes to a point here so you can have a little bit of glass breaking function if you so desire. The ergonomics of the knife are pretty simple. Basically, it's a straight knife. I can get 4 fingers easily on the blade. Not everybody can. I've got pretty small hands, and it is what it is. It's just a small blade, and it's designed to just disappear in your pocket but not feel so comfortable in your hand because it's so small. So we're going to take a little break right now. I'm going to put down the knife, and I'm going to come back with some rim oil, and we're going to try to loosen the action up a little. Well, we're back now, and I've been to the garage and got my rim oil where my guns are. My problem with my rim oil is that it's in a squirt container, and I don't have a little straw like WD-40 has on the end of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some sort of little funnel like this, and I'm going to try to poke it into the top of the knife. Oh, this is so stiff. Anyway, I can only do this right-handed. I can't do it with my non-dominant hand. So I'm going to try to poke it into the knife here and then take the top off and pour the rim oil in, and I am anticipating I'm going to make a huge mess, so I'm going to work on this and then I'll come back in just a little bit. Okay, we're back again, and I have my knife, and I made a little funnel out of a piece of paper. We're going to try to put it into the slot of the knife. And we're going to see how big of a mess this actually makes. I may regret this, but it'll be fun, okay? And now you can't see this from your angle, but I'm going to pour some rim oil in the top. Try to fill up the knife. Yep, we're making a mess, all right. But I think that I did fill up the knife with rim oil. Yep, I did. And so I'm going to let it sit there a little bit, and we're going to count to 10 or something like that. I don't know, leave it in there a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back and let you know how it did. Okay, we're back now. I've let the oil sit in there about 5 minutes after getting it in there, and the cliff notes on how to do this is funnels don't really work so well because it's such a narrow opening. It's best just to take the lid off and try to pour as much in there as you can. So we're going to go ahead and dump it out now that it's been in there for a bit. There we go. Get all that oil out of there. And then also I have a can of compressed air here. You can get it at Walmart for $4. So I'm going to go out in the yard and blow out the rest of the oil that's hidden in there. Then I'll be back and talk to you some more. Okay, so we're back now. So basically the cliff notes of what I did was I tried to fill it up, and the cliff notes on that is the funnel only worked marginally well. Actually what worked well is I just took the spray bottle top off of the rim oil and gently poured it in a little at a time, and it filled it up nicely. I let it sit in there for about 5 minutes, and then I dumped it out. And the result is it is a little bit smoother. It's still not as easy to retract as I would like. So what are my overall opinions? First of all, this little blade is a little expensive. It costs $240 for an out-the-front small flipper. The second thing I'd want to mention is that there is some variability between the flipping action of some out-the-fronts. For example, this one is just a barrel of monkeys, this UTX 85 that just flips in and out, and it's really easy. It's a lot of fun to play with. This one, even though it got improved a little bit, is still what I would consider stiff. And I'm not saying don't go out and buy it. I'm just saying buyer beware. The best way I think to buy a UTX 70 would be to go to a blade show or to a knife store where they had maybe 3 or 4 of them and say, hey, give me 3 or 4 to play with, and you go through each one and check its flipping action, how it deploys out the front, and find one that's not stiff because there's variability between the knives. What do I like about it? First of all, OTFs, whenever they're the right tension on their deployment spring, are a lot of fun to play with. And this one specifically, it's small, it's light at 1.2 ounces. So if you want a small, light OTF knife that disappears in your pocket, and you're willing to go to a blade show or knife store where they have several that you can try out the mechanism of deployment, I think the Microtech UTX 70 might be the right knife for you. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next lightest and best video.